Making our cities more livable and sustainable is a complex challenge. To successfully meet these challenges for a better city of the future, we need to represent courage and movement with the help of new technologies and innovative thinking. Hi, my name is Anna. I'm part of UnternehmerTUM, working with our international network, organizing this great event today, but also moderating. I won't do this alone today. If you already joined our pre-event on the German investment landscape, you probably know my dear colleague Marisa.
Thank you, Anna. Hello, everybody. My name is Marisa. I'm also from UnternehmerTUM, and Anna and me, we will be your hosts for the next 90 minutes. And we are streaming live to you from the newly opened Center for Smart City Innovation and Startup Center, the Munich Urban Colab. Welcome to UnternehmerTUM's International Entrepreneurs Night. We bring together startups, corporates, investors, and scientists to together discuss the latest innovations and smart technologies in the field of smart city. The International Entrepreneurs Night is an ongoing event at the UnternehmerTUM that has been going on for years, and every edition we focus on one different international metropole that is shown to be a role model city when it comes to the topic of smart city.
Definitely, we can look back to great editions welcoming guests from our wide international network. Cities like Stockholm, Paris, Singapore, or most recently, even Canada, were in the spotlight. We talked about smart city innovations, how the city of the future can look like, and how mobility, clean tech, smart building, or data analytics make our urban life smarter and more sustainable. In today's 8th episode, we put Copenhagen in the spotlight, some of its terrific startups, but also the pioneering ecosystem of the city of Copenhagen, and in addition, how Munich is engaging to create an international smart city role model. Copenhagen makes us probably think about the modern Scandinavia, with a hygge lifestyle, being peaceful, cozy, and happy, but also with a nice furniture design or the minimalism in the fashion. When it comes to new technology, Denmark is an early adopter, and the innovation powerhouse is ranking 3rd in the European Innovation Scoreboard.
Yeah, I'm also very excited that we are focusing on Copenhagen today. I'm myself a big fan of Scandinavia and Scandinavian capitals. Been to Copenhagen a couple of times myself, and I've always felt this atmosphere that you were describing, Anna, that the Danish people are early adopters, especially when it comes to city life. I always feel that there's a certain quality of life in Scandinavian cities. When you think of Copenhagen, for example, everybody is biking around in the city and it's completely normal. What we've seen in Munich for the last couple of years, slowly rising, that more and more people are driving around with their big bikes, and that has been going on in Copenhagen for much, much longer. You know, the cargo bikes where you can put in your dogs and your kids in the front. That's completely normal city life in Copenhagen. That's just one of the pictures that I get in my mind. But let's have a look at the agenda for tonight's International Entrepreneurs Night. As you can see here on the agenda, we have an amazing lineup of speakers. We're going to have a panel discussion, a startup pitch session, and later tonight the networking. And this would not be possible without our international partner network from UnternehmerTUM.
That's true, Marisa. So I would say let's welcome our partners from Denmark now, supporting innovation and entrepreneurship in the city of Copenhagen, but also provide space for it to develop. See yourself in the next few minutes and enjoy how our partners put their vision into life and starting with DTU Skylab. Wonderful. It's such a great long-term cooperation with DTU Skylab, but now also presenting our second partner, BLOXHUB, aiming for the very similar goals as our Munich Urban Colab. Enjoy.
Our future is urban. Every week, 3 million people move to cities around the world. By 2050, 2/3 of the world's population will live in cities. At BLOXHUB, we want to meet the urban challenge, creating better cities for all.
The challenges that our cities are facing are becoming more and more complex. Think of climate adaptation and energy transformation, urban infrastructure, resilience. Those are all factors that are crying out for new ways of solving the challenges of the cities.
BLOXHUB is the innovation hub for future cities, founded on the belief that the challenges of global urbanization and climate change require new ways of collaboration between architecture, engineering, design thinking, construction, facility management, and tech, but also between research and practice, and between startups and corporates, breaking down the silos, bringing together the brightest minds, co-creating better cities. Access to state-of-the-art technology for all. Small fab labs with 3D printing and scanning. A data lab, a living lab, and a VR studio.
In our VR studio, you can take a virtual reality tour. It could be a model of an apartment, a building, maybe a hospital, or even a cityscape. And in this way, you can make very crucial decisions even before you build your solution.
Big data will change the way that we design, build and think about our future. And in the city of Copenhagen, we gather, analyze and visualize data across different sectors and across different cities to improve sustainability.
An international community, a launchpad for new Nordic solutions with a global outlook and a gateway to the Nordic countries. At BLOXHUB, companies can connect, share and scale.
As a large global company, collaboration is really important to us. Being part of BLOXHUB is a fantastic opportunity. Being able to make innovative solutions with architectural firms, IT firms, city planners, other engineers, and being able to bring those out in our global network.
At GIL, we have a people-first approach to solving urban issues, and by that we mean putting people at the center by ensuring transparent planning processes and having a co-creative approach to problem solving.
We believe that great minds think together. Tailored workshops and accelerator programs, matchmaking and go-to-market strategies. We match you with the right people. We help mature ideas, explore opportunities, and make new solutions. We believe in curiosity. We believe in knowledge. We believe in co-creation. Our urban future, co-created.
Wow, now you also gained very nice insights about the co-creation space in the heart of Copenhagen. But yeah, let me take the opportunity to also thanks our support partners, Invest in Bavaria. They made available some prizes for our startups today and joined the International Entrepreneurs Night for many years now. And last but not least, thank you to the Innovation Center Denmark in Munich. To all of you, thanks for spreading the word. Without you, our event wouldn't be the same. You can all watch your left side of the screen, get more information about partners, Danish guests, Munich guests, and yeah, get in touch with them at our networking session starting at 7:30 later. But now, let's go back where we are today at the Munich Urban Colab. And I would love to pick up the words of Susanne Glatten, founder of UnternehmerTUM and initiator of the Munich Urban Colab, a place where startups, established businesses, scientists, and creatives can all work together on innovative products and smart technologies under one roof. But take a look yourself and see what the place is all about. And then Marisa will introduce you to our panel discussion today on how to create such spaces in our beloved cities.
And welcome back. And now it's time for our panel on enabling spaces for innovation and co-creation. And for that, I'm very happy to introduce you to our panelists tonight. We have two stages, one at the Munich Urban Colab that you've already seen, and now you can see our second stage as well over in Copenhagen at BLOXHUB. Hello, everybody in Copenhagen.
Hello. Hello, nice to be here this evening.
Perfect. Let me introduce you to our audience. I am very happy to have you here from the Copenhagen side. Martine Reinhold-Schildeby, you are the Global Network Manager at BLOXHUB. You're responsible for the global partnerships within urban development projects. And I think it's safe to say that you have a special relationship to German-Danish collaborations, since you've been living in Munich yourself for about 4 years, working at the Danish Consulate General in Munich. Welcome, Martine.
Thank you very much.
Next up, we have Mario Silvestersen. He is the Smart City Program Director of the Copenhagen Solutions Lab at the City of Copenhagen. where you are leading the digital transformation of the city of Copenhagen. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Next up, also tuning in from Copenhagen, but from his office, is Danny Vrooman. You are the International Business Development Manager at Technolution. Technolution is an innovation-driven system integrator in Copenhagen. And Danny, you are particularly focusing on mobility solutions at Technolution, and especially new mobility concepts, like, for example, urban air mobility. And you're looking at what do these kind of new solutions have an impact on the city life. Welcome, Danny.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm quite happy to be here.
And here with me on stage at the Munich Urban Colab, we have two representatives for Munich, of course. Right next to me is Ursula Triebswetter. She is the Deputy Director Economics of the city of Munich. She has a special focus on environmental and climate economics in the context of smart city developments. Welcome, Ursula.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for having me here.
And to my right side here is Sabine Hansky. She's the Program Director and expert for urban development at the Munich Urban Colab. She has not only developed the brand, the corporate identity, and the communication strategy for the Munich Urban Colab, but before that has been working a lot of years for the UnternehmerTUM as well.
Hello,
Welcome,
everybody.
Fantastic. I would say let's dive right into our discussion on enabling spaces for innovation and co-creation. And my first question goes out to the Copenhagen studio. Marius, I would like to know from you, is Copenhagen a smart city already?
It's kind of an interesting question because actually we have no plan or ambition or mission to become a smart city. So for us here in Copenhagen, like the discussion around smart cities, it should center more on the city than on the smart part actually. So we don't envision having like the fastest internet in the world, or we want to build like cities that are livable basically. So I guess when we're working in this space, we are working with technology, but the end goal is always to make certain that we are focusing on the human perspective, the human in the city. So I guess we have some interesting discussions going forward from today, because there's a lot of like preoccupation with technology and with data around the world. But where's the human perspective? Where's the actual livable city? This is what we are like looking into in Copenhagen at the moment.
Mm. And can you give us some examples of if I would be walking the streets of Copenhagen right now and this livable city that you're talking about, which definitely is also part of being a smart city, what would I see or what would I experience that would make me say, okay, Copenhagen is definitely a role model when it comes to smart cities and livable cities?
Well, I would actually say that you wouldn't even like notice what is going on, because you shouldn't focus on the IoT sensors or the Technolution dashboard that is doing the mobility and making certain that you can get in and out of the city as quick as possible. So this is something that is going on behind the scenes. So you would notice a city that is very green, where people are interacting. They would be out in the streets. Once again, after COVID-19 is going away just a little bit, we have people all over the city. I was out watching the soccer match last night. The people were swarming out, and it was a nice atmosphere. So basically, what I hope you would notice in the city of Copenhagen would be like other citizens, other people actually interacting and having a great time, being challenged in the city and being entertained in the city. That would be my vision for the smart city of Copenhagen.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And you are located at BLOXHUB right now. Hi, Martin. Tell us a little bit more about BLOXHUB. I mean, our audience has seen the little video clip before, so we got a little bit of a feeling of what is going on at BLOXHUB. But first off, I have to say, a very great studio that you built out there. It looks very nice. But yeah,
It's very
tell us a
nice
little
here.
bit about BLOXHUB. What is happening there, and how do you create the urban future, as you say, at BLOXHUB?
Yeah, it's quite ambitious when we're talking about what we really want to achieve here, because what we want to do with BLOXHUB is actually to create better cities worldwide. So nothing less than that is the aim of what we're doing here. But the way we do it is that here at BLOXHUB, the Nordic hub for urban development, is that we gather a lot of companies and organizations physically here in our co-working space, but also on our member base, so that we have around 400 companies and organizations that work together every day to actually help us achieve this goal of having impact in cities around the world.
Mm-hmm. And how exactly is BLOXHUB trying to do that? You mentioned you are a co-working space. How many, so in the video, you call themselves members. How many members are there at BLOXHUB that are creating this future?
We have a little less than 400 members at BLOXHUB, and I think the number is of course interesting, but what is more interesting is actually the way that we want our members to interact, and we want them to help create new solutions, innovate together, exchange knowledge and competences. And this is the absolute core of everything that we want to do here. So we are a co-working space, but we would like to have more than that. It's only organizations and companies that work within the urban area that are actually located here. And we do everything we can to get them gathered around specific challenges, to work together on solving them and to exchange their knowledge, which also gives us as a team or an organization a pool of knowledge that makes us thought leaders in some ways.
Absolutely, it's a very important point that I'm definitely going to take up later in this discussion as well, the aspect of co-working versus co-creating. So thank you for taking that up already. But I would like to, before we dive into that, switch to the Munich setting for a while. Ursula, I want to ask you the same question that I asked Marius for Copenhagen. Is Munich a smart city already? And if yes, why so?
Thank you very much for the question. What is smart? From a city perspective, we would argue it's not only a technological view. Of course, we have the social view, we have the economic view, we have the ecological view, and that is exactly the reason why we as City of Munich were so happy that we were asked by UnternehmerTUM to join the Munich Urban Colab to find solutions which exactly go in that direction of, I prefer the expression, city of the future, where everybody can benefit, where we provide innovative solutions with economic benefits for all our citizens here in Munich.
Do you have some examples, if we want to put some pictures in our audience minds of what makes Munich smart? And you mentioned the different aspects, ecological. What kind of aspects does Munich have that we could lift here in this sense?
Of course, we have certain lighthouse projects, European things, Smarter Together, for instance, where we developed a whole neighborhood in Freiham, where light posts are offered to charge the electric cars, things like that. This is the new age, but of course we have also the English Garden, where we have a huge, big, open space open to the public. So it's really a mixture.
All right. And Sabine, you are here as well. Thank you for representing Munich and the Munich Urban Colab for us today. And I would like to give you the chance to tell us a little bit more about the Munich Urban Colab. What is it and why do we need it in Munich?
Yes, so the Munich Urban Colab is a powerful platform for smart city solutions. And so Munich is a growing city, and as cities all over the world is facing the same problems and challenges. So digitization of the infrastructure, energy supply, waste disposal, traffic management, so these challenges can only be met through innovation. And what does innovation need? So collaboration, we already heard it from the partners in Denmark, and a perfect space. So the city of Munich and UnternehmerTUM, we joined forces, and we created this space where startups, corporate innovators, scientists, but creatives, artists, and most of all, the municipality and the citizens will work on solutions for urban challenges. And the architecture here provides a really outstanding environment for the deceiving, testing, exploring, and discussion of solutions. We have an atmospheric as well as functional architecture. We have a high-tech model workshop for prototyping, and we have event spaces where we will invite the citizens of Munich to test and to develop solutions for a city of all together with us. And this is, I think, quite unique, and it's great to have the city of Munich as a partner for a smart city hub.
Absolutely. Yeah, so what I can definitely hear from both the Munich Urban Colab and from BLOXHUB is that we're bringing together different stakeholders. And one of this other category of stakeholders is represented by Danny, by you in this panel discussion, as you represent the corporate side, so to say, here tonight. And I would like to know from you, how does Technolution contribute to smarter cities?
Yeah, I think what has been said already. I'm really happy with those words. Smart cities is really about the citizens, and how you can use technology in search of creating those livable cities. So where we contribute is actually also on the co-creation, to get engaged with the citizens, get engaged with the people that are using our technology, whether it's the traffic operator or what we have done in Copenhagen recently with the bike VMSs. To get an understanding on what kind of information people actually want to see, instead of traffic engineers figuring it out behind their desk in the ivory tower, so to say. It's really about that engagement, and that's at least a small contribution that we can make from our perspective.
Can you give us some insights on what kind of challenges are you trying to solve for your customers right now?
Yeah, I think a lot of things has been mentioned previous, but the new fashion words are decarbonization of mobility. How are you going to do that? How are you going to look at micro-mobility? What will be the impact then on the urban space that's going to be available for creating livable areas? The challenge of the EV infrastructure, how are we going to manage that all electric vehicles can have a charging points that we want to push forward? And do you still want to have them in the cities, yes or no? And how is the policymakers going to react on it? And what are they going to do? And what do the citizens want? So there are on multiple levels the challenges. Most of the time it's not technical.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Maybe you need technology to solve untechnological challenges.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Martin, and actually the same question also to you, Sabine. I would like to talk more about co-creation. So you both mentioned that both at BLOXHUB and at Munich Urban Colab, we want to bring together different stakeholders. You mentioned the corporates, you mentioned the startups, creatives, the citizens. Why is it so important that we bring together different stakeholders for innovation? Martin, maybe you would like to start.
Yeah, I think that bringing together different stakeholders is the whole purpose of creating a hub like this. And of course, it's in different ways that we want to bring together stakeholders. As Mario said, when you need to bring the citizens in the center of the city you want to create, of course you need to know the behavior of citizens, the wishes, and how you actually want to use the city. in the first place. So this is a very, very important point. And some of our corporates and collaboration partners here also present that insight that you need in handling stakeholders like that and involving their views. But I think just as important is to involve the sectors that are actually needed to solve these challenges around a specific challenge, so that you have views from different sides on the specific challenge, from the stakeholder management, the technology side, the data side. There could be many other sides that needs to be presented in order to create the holistic and future-proof solution. Because challenges of our cities today are so complex that no corporate or organization can do it alone. And that is the whole idea and belief of the BLOXHUB aim, is actually that no one can do it alone. So we need to involve sectors across borders, but also to work across borders like we are doing today with the German-Danish border. So this is extremely interesting to all the time build on the knowledge that is already here. So we don't have to create the same wheel 2 times, but to expand our knowledge by working together all the time.
Mm. I saw you nodding once, Sabine. Yes. Would you like to elaborate on what Martine said?
Yes, because it's exactly what Martine said. So all the challenges, not only the urban challenges, but all the challenges we're facing are far too complex to be solved by one stakeholder alone. So we need the collaboration. Just think of autonomous driving. So you need so many people working on this to bring a solution to market. So this is exactly what we want to do. We want to bring together stakeholders across all industries and across all disciplines, because this is also very important, that we have a collaboration between different disciplines in science and most of all, sometimes, for example, a founder or a startup has an idea, but this idea can grow faster if the startup matches or with the corporate, with the innovative corporate, and they benefit from the experience, from the international network, and so the idea can be brought faster into market.
Mm. Definitely, clear answer. If I would ask you the question, I mean, you both mentioned we're bringing together the different stakeholders. Co-working is definitely a buzzword. What differentiates BLOXHUB and the Munich Urban Colab from, let's say, WeWork or any other co-working space? How can we make sure that these different stakeholders work together, that the startup meets the corporate, as you mentioned, Sabine? Is it just in the space because you're having the desk next to someone and then you meet at the coffee machine? Or do you have programs, initiatives? How do you make them meet? Martine, maybe some insights from BLOXHUB.
Well, first of all, coffee machines are very important. This is the place where you meet a lot of people every day. So during Corona, we have missed too many people being around the coffee machines. But unfortunately, that is not entirely enough. We need to do something more. And this is also why I'm here, the work that I'm doing. Of course, first of all, we put a limit to who can be here in this co-working space. So that is like the first criteria of creating a platform to work together on, having the same aim of creating better and sustainable cities. Secondly, we have formats and the ways of activating our pool of organizations and corporates around specific challenges. So of course we share knowledge via debates. We have science talks that try to close the gap between the academia side and the corporate side, as you just mentioned, Sabine, which is very important. But we also have formats of innovation rooms, innovation workshops, and all the time also activate our members across sectors, across sizes, across all kinds of parameters in actual challenges abroad. So this is how you work together. This is how you make sure it's not just being in the same building, but that you're actually working together on specific and real challenges. So this is a major part of how we work here at BLOXHUB.
And what's the plan in that sense for the Munich Urban Colab, Sabine? How can we make sure that this is an open house and that the neighbors actually come in and join these innovation workshops or science talks?
Yes, so we're working on this. So we're working on a program. But the Munich Urban Colab already is home to a lot of initiatives dealing with smart city issues. So, and this is why we are much more than co-working. Of course, we offer co-working space, but much more. We have, for example, Ursula mentioned it, Smarter Together. We have the initiative B5 for the building industry. We have our digital mobility hub. So, and a lot of startup acceleration incubation programs. So there already are a lot of programs here in the Munich Urban Colab you can get in touch with. There are a lot of corporates already here in the house you also can connect with. And of course, we have a cafeteria and we want to open up to the neighborhood and to meet, and the architecture offers a lot of space for recreation events and meetings.
Mm. And Ursula, how does the city of Munich participate in what's going on here at the Munich Urban Colab? I mean, you initiated the entire project with UnternehmerTUM, but how are you actively involving the city in what's going on in this building?
First of all, I want to say it's a public-private partnership. Mm-hmm. So we are really interested to take a fair share in the burden here of the costs and the risks which are taken here. Mm-hmm. And we as a city, we have a city lab. The Danish colleague call it City Solution Lab. Our lab is called the Munich City Lab, powered by Department of Labor and Economics. We give the entree to all other departments here in the city, so everybody from our city colleagues can come and meet the startups, the corporates, the scientists, and hopefully the citizens, and not to forget the creative industry, because the Munich Urban Colab sits in the middle of a very creative neighborhood, which is developed by the city of Munich in the near future. So we will benefit from all these activities, and of course bring in our own projects. We have many sustainability projects, and I'm very happy that the Munich Urban Colab already takes part in a city environmental program. We have also a joint program for greening here, the house, the lab, outside and inside. Hopefully there was a workshop yesterday. And of course we bring in our city events. For instance, we have a series of talks on increasing energy efficiency here in Munich for all, open for all enterprises. And we have the mobility lab of our public transport company here in the house. And we hope that the colleagues working there will also liaise with the other labs in the house, the future mobility space, and everybody who's here. So it's an incremental way of building up knowledge step by step. And I think it's just the opportunity to build unusual coalitions, that new people from new corners will come together maybe for the first time, and then new ideas and new projects and solutions will be implemented.
Absolutely, that's what we wish to see here. Yeah, sure.
Can I just give you an example?
Yeah,
a very current example.
Gladly.
So, why it's so unique and such a big opportunity to partner with the city of Munich. So in the Munich Urban Colab, startup is working on an autonomous cleaning machine for festivals and public spaces. And they're just building the prototype. And of course, they're looking for partners or for people to talk with in the city. And we just connected them. And maybe this autonomous driving machine will clean the Isar-Auen. I don't know. So, but this is just an example why it's so good to have a fast way to the city and to speak to representatives from the municipality of the city.
Absolutely.
So to bring ideas faster into testing and into the market.
Yeah, because I can imagine it's not too easy to get in touch otherwise with city representatives, right?
And the same for the corporate innovators. So sometimes it's so difficult to find the right person to speak to. And so here's just a door away.
Yeah. How is the situation in Copenhagen, Marius? How do you get involved in BLOXHUB? I mean, it's perfect conditions, right? You have this pool of amazing startups there sitting, working on smart city solutions. How do you go about that? How do you start working with them?
So basically, I would echo what is being said from the Munich office and from Ursula around public-private partnerships. So basically, I guess what we bring to the table as city representatives are urban mega problems. So we have a lot of difficulties facing cities today. And when we need to solve some of these challenges, be it the green transition, working with mobility, as we heard from Technolution, or be it climate resilience and other issues, we need to be very close to the private sector. And I guess for a city, it's difficult to engage with the private companies because usually we only engage with them when we have a tender. And a tender is pretty boring because you don't learn anything if you have a tender. So you need to have dialogues with the market and with the best startup companies and with the best large corps. That is the only way of making certain that cities are up to speed with what is actually going on in the private sector. So the way we think about it is to actually incubate our urban mega problems in spaces such as BLOXHUB in order to get closer to the company. We've been working with the issue of air quality, for instance, for a number of years now, and air quality is a global mega problem. So people living in cities are dying 2 years ahead of time because of bad air. And we wanted to understand more about the air quality in Copenhagen and elsewhere. And we actually started off, even before BLOXHUB was a thing, we started off here looking into how would it be possible to use IoT devices to measure the level of pollution in the air. And eventually now we went into scale and are also working with bigger companies such as Google. And now we have basically a map of the air quality in Copenhagen. And this would not have been possible without this engagement in BLOXHUB and the dialogue, the continuing dialogue with both startup companies and more mature companies. So this is of high value for the city.
Do you also sit at BLOXHUB, or do you have an office somewhere else?
We have two offices, so I would commute back and forth, but they're very close together actually. So I just need to pass one bridge, so it will take me 5 minutes. So
sometimes we can meet you at the coffee machine at BLOXHUB. Danny, Mario has already mentioned that the city is working with Technolution. Can you tell us a little bit about when we read up on Technolution, co-creation is something that you also write very big. Who do you involve in co-creation processes?
I think that, of course, that's depending on what kind of creation you're looking into. But we are a big fan of the triple helix approach. So where you also involve universities, startups, the government themselves, and preferably the quadruple helix, where also citizens get involved or representatives from citizens. So you actually get all or as much as possible angles into the challenges that cities are facing, so that you also can develop the right technology for the challenge ahead. So it's really depending on the challenge that's in front of us, with whom we're working, but it's also what already has been mentioned. Even we feel the problems are too big, you cannot do it alone. I think that's also the great part that the BLOXHUB is doing. We've joined already many of the debates with other cities in seeing what you can bring and develop jointly to face all these challenges.
And Yeah, I would like to. We soon have to come to the end of the panel discussion already, but I'd like to give a look into the future. I mean, this building the city of the future, this is what we're looking at tonight in this event. So I would like to raise one last question to each of you, and I'll start with you, Marius. If you could draw us a picture of the city of Copenhagen, what does the city look like by 2030?
So I guess this is a really difficult question, and I think when people are trying to look into the future, it's always flawed. And I guess if you read science fiction once in a while, you will have these very gray scenarios of the future, which is completely desolated. You only have technology and seamless interaction. And I think this is not a nice picture for the future. So I would actually prefer to say that the future city would be very much like the city we have today. It would be perhaps even greener, even more engaging. We have a saying here, we have actually a mission in the city of Copenhagen. So we don't want to be the smartest city, but we want to have a city that has an edge, is the saying here in Copenhagen. So it needs to challenge us just a little bit. It shouldn't be just seamless interaction. It should actually have a certain flavor, and there should be a lot of engagement when you are in the city. So my vision would be like the one we have today, but even better to experience.
Mm-hmm. And Martin, I'm looking at you. I mean, BLOXHUB is a little bit more experienced than the Munich Urban Colab. We are, so to say, the new kid on the block. So of course we're interested, what are your best practice? What is the BLOXHUB recipe that you want to give us here in Munich?
Well, first of all, I'm already in close contact with Sabine, and we work very closely together, and I think you are doing so many good things and are definitely on the right way to what I see as the perfect way of making interaction happen. So I think you got very well off starting point here. What I think is very important is that still keep a focus on having the cross-sector in collaboration. That is very important, that you really mix the stakeholders that are involved in solving the challenges. And to keep learning from each other, as we are doing also today and on a daily basis with you and other collaboration partners abroad. I think it's important that we also, on an organizational level, look into that we do not know how to actually activate all the knowledge in the best way. We need to learn from each other also on this level. So I think this is also something that we are already doing. So and working together, closely together with the city was my third point. So, and I know you're doing that also. So I think we're doing quite well on both sides, and the collaboration makes us both stronger. So I'm looking forward to the continued one.
Absolutely. I think we should keep talking between countries, between nations to stay inspired. Danny, some last words from you as well. What is your wish for the smart city future?
Yeah, I have to agree with Marius. I hope the smart city of the future will be a green city and an inclusive city where we take care of each other and people are living in it. And everything that we do, also from a technology perspective or corporate perspective, we do for creating a better quality of life.
Switching back to Munich, Ursula, where do you see the Munich Urban Colab in 5 years? What would you like to have seen happening here?
Oh, my wish is that we have implemented a lot of joint projects, that the city of Munich has opened its doors to really implement the solutions which we curiously have heard and learned here, and that we bring in the people and that the neighborhood loves the place and everything goes well. And that we are well known in Europe as a center of, just as Ursula von der Leyen said it, is in the context of a new European Bauhaus, beautiful, sustainable, inclusive, and I think Sabine would add inspiring, the slogan of the Colab. That's my wish.
Absolutely. More European collaborations. I like that. And Sabina, what inspiration are you taking home from either tonight from Copenhagen and from BLOXHUB, or we've heard before that you are regularly in touch with BLOXHUB. What inspires you from Copenhagen and BLOXHUB that you can envision here for us?
Well, I think it's always very inspiring to talk to Martine, and I think we can learn a lot from BLOXHUB on new formats and on, well, how to build a community. I think this is very important for us, and I think we can learn from Copenhagen. So where there's so much more space for bicycles, and I think so my wish for the future is that we all have green cities, and maybe that here in the Munich Urban Colab are solutions developed for a greener city and for our solutions to fight the climate change and especially the negative problems of the climate change in the cities, and that maybe these solutions are scalable all over the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Reach for the stars, definitely. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you to you in Copenhagen. We will see you also later in the networking session. So everybody in the audience, if you like to talk to our panelists, you have the chance to do so. Thank you to our speakers and guests here in Munich. And now we are switching to the startup side of innovation. And for that, I'll welcome my co-moderator back on stage. Anna, you will guide our audience through the Copenhagen startups.
Yes, thanks. It was a great panel discussion, I guess. We received so many impressive insights about the city of Copenhagen, BLOXHUB, and the other side here in Munich and the Munich Urban Colab. So yeah, we heard how we can enable space in our cities, and now let's see how cool ideas actually come to life. And we would like to welcome now 3 startups from the BLOXHUB ecosystem, and in addition, 2 more startups from DTU Skylab. But before this, I would like to invite you to type in your questions on the right side of your screen. We will have a short time for your questions after each pitch. I will read it out to the startups, and in addition, you also can make use of the networking session starting at 7:30. Okay, after all pitches, I also would love to invite you to vote for your favorite one. We would like to award a prize to the winning team, and this will be a voucher for 4 weeks flexible desk here in the Munich Urban Colab. I think this is a great chance to invite the international startups here to come to Munich. And yeah, but now I'm very happy to introduce you to our first startup pitch, and it's Christian who does the presentation with more than 30 years of experiences in the international top management and bird work. So he presents the startup Living Better, focusing on the infrastructure development in buildings. They developed a patented valve technology to provide preheated fresh air into buildings. And we just talked to each other. I know you already have access to the German market in Hamburg, but perhaps in the future also focus on Munich. So Christian, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much. My name is Christian, and I'm going to talk about energy efficiency and healthy living in buildings and in cities. And by the way, I'm a member of BLOX here in Copenhagen. I like it a lot. So, as we all know, a human being is living 90% of his whole life indoor, which makes a huge demand on the buildings that we need to have light and we need to have fresh air. However, since the first oil crisis, we have built buildings very, very dense in order to save energy. And that has created a lot of bad indoor climate. And in order to solve that, we've used and built a lot of big ventilation systems that are costing a lot, using a lot of energy, and sometimes blowing questionable air back into the building. We have a solution for that, and we call that Living Better. We use the facade and the windows, a smart window, which is a double construction with a smart technology, a valve technology that leads fresh air into the building. The air will get preheated through the travel through the window. And as we all know, we have a big heat loss normally in buildings from the windows. But as we have the air taking some of that heat and energy and taking it back to the building, we have heat recovery number one. Fraunhofer Institute in Stuttgart has done extensive analysis on the system and has documented a saving from 10 to 15% of the energy demand in the building. Once the air is into the building, it flows through the building. And as we all also know, there's a lot more energy in air in the building than outside of the building. A lot of heat pump technology is using air from the outside. We're using the air inside the building because there's a lot of more energy in the air inside the building. We suck that into a heat pump, typically from bath and kitchen, where we have the used, bad, and very moist air. We suck it into a heat pump and recover the energy in that warm air. And we produce warm water either for heat flooring or for domestic water. This is heat recovery number two, and we can document savings from 25 to 30%. As you see in the picture, it's a very simple technology, not a lot of piping. We have the windows, we have the heat pump, it's very low operating cost, and above all, it gives a very nice indoor climate. When we look at the technology and the potential of this, you can imagine yourself that if we take 10% savings from the window and another 20-25% from the heat pump and extrapolate that over Europe, we are talking very, very big numbers of energy savings and CO2 reduction. From a component sales point of view, technology, we reckon that there are about 500 million sales worth of technology a year. And when we take the windows and the heat pumps together, we're talking about 12 to 13% billion euros worth of sales every year. We're looking at renovation segment, but also new build. And we're looking at Western Europe and above all, Germany, because we strongly believe that the Germans are on the forefront in Europe, together with us in the Nordic, to look at green solution and sustainable solutions. The unique selling points for this is, of course, the low capital invest, simple installations. The valve technology is a thermostat technology that doesn't use power. It's without noise. It can be very good for renovation projects, but also new build, as I said. Low energy cost, low maintenance cost, and it is behavioral independent, which means that people living in the house do not need to think about opening the windows to get fresh air in. Everything comes automatically. High sustainability due to the heat recovery, and above all, creates very nice and good indoor climate. Now the next picture doesn't move. Let's try it again. No? Well, anyway, I'm coming to the end anyway. I think you've got a notion of what we're doing. Actually, it's a very simple technology used in a different way. We're using the facade and the way of building houses, and we provide a system that can really reduce energy, provide good indoor climate, and also we can contribute with our system to CO2 reduction, and this is why we're all here. Thank you very much, and I'd like to take questions.
Thank you, Christian. That was very inspiring, and yeah, we really like that you already focus on Germany and hope to see you soon here in Munich. There is one question from the audience I would like to address to you. I hope you can clearly hear me. So I read it out. It looks interesting. And can this be installed in any type of buildings, or would it need to be custom-made?
Yes. what we're doing when we are looking at projects, renovation projects and new build, we are always looking at a specific project because it's a matter of the volume of air in a building. It's a matter of how much air we need to take into the building, and we know how much air we can produce through the valve technology. So therefore, it is a very project-driven system, and it's not a standard system.
Okay, sounds good. And perhaps one more question from my side. What is your target group? Do you focus on big buildings like the BLOXHUB or Munich Urban Colab building, or is it also possible to install in individual houses or smaller flats?
Actually looking at two main segments. The one is building blocks where you have a lot of families living, and the other is actually single family homes where we can do energy independent solutions. We are not depending of the fernwärme, what do you call that in English? Therefore we can actually build new cities. We just need a little of green power, and then we can build the energy and indoor climate solution.
Okay, great. So Christian, looking at the time, I would like to go on with the startup pitches. We will see each other during the networking session. I hope so. Enjoy the rest of the event, and perhaps we see each other again if you win the first prize later. Okay, our next startup is Urban Tree, and as a spin-off of the research and consultancy organization. We switch. I received an information and up-to-date from our production team. We have to switch our next startup. And so let's directly head over to our third startup. It is Kogo. And welcome Robin, the CEO and co-founder. He already gained a lot insights while working for Momondo. It's an online flight engine, search engine and for flights, and they focus on the urban mobility to bring them to the next level, and they definitely benefit from the existing marketplace with shared bikes, electric cars, and perhaps also the scooter boom. So let's hear more about the Kogo app and the idea behind. Robin, the stage is yours.
Thank you. I'm Robin, co-founder of Kogo. There are 300 million cars in Europe, and the car fleet could be reduced by a third if shared mobility were widely adopted. This would save 33 billion euros in traffic congestion costs and 460 million tons of CO2 emissions annually in Europe. At Kogo, we are passionate to gather shared rights for frictionless mobility and a better tomorrow, and we want to enable this transition. But the shared mobility market is complex. There are hundreds of operators in Europe. Germany has over 80 different cities with different mobility operators. Munich alone has over a dozen. And the biggest problem for users today is that they're forced to use several apps to get around. And this is slowing down the adoption. And if you ever wanted to jump on a scooter or a bike, you probably found yourself checking 4 to 5 different apps just to find a ride that is close. So next time, just open Kogo and you only have to check in one place. Because with Kogo, you have access to all shared mobility operators in one app, as long as they're human or electric powered. We include electric scooters, bikes, cars, and mopeds from 190 different operators in 500 cities worldwide. Sorry. And our business model is twofold. For consumers, we offer a travel card where we bulk buy minutes cheaper than we sell them. And for companies, we have a business travel solution where we make shared mobility available to your employees with simple invoicing, and you can reduce your travel emissions as well. Our team has very relevant background from building Momondo. Martin is our technical wizard, Bibi's expertise lies in commercial partnerships, and I'm managing our marketing and our growth. We are still a small team, but we cover 3 nationalities, and both on a co-founding team and on the board level, we are 1/3 female. Currently, we have about 15,000 users, and we're projecting over 50,000 by the end of the year. We have connected 190 different operators already, and we have the best operator coverage in the Nordics among all of our competitors. We also have strategic partnerships with companies such as Scandic and Covey. And that is also why we're here today, because we would love to talk to companies in Munich who wants to make shared mobility available to their employees, simple invoicing, and to reduce your travel emissions. Or maybe you're an operator who wants to increase your rides and user base, just reach out. And finally, we have closed a €1 million funding round, but we are talking to more investors to fuel our European expansion. Thank you so much. Have a nice evening.
Thank you, Robin. Great app and great solution, I guess. We definitely can adapt to the German market, I hope so. I think when we talked to each other, you mentioned that the app was set up during COVID-19. Could you perhaps give a few insight? How was it for you to develop this app during this time? How was your feedback from the target group at the end, and could you reach them?
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, we worked from home basically from day one, but luckily we knew each other very well from working, I think, 5-6 years at Momondo. So we knew each other's strengths and weaknesses and so on, and we could trust each other that we would all deliver. As the world stopped, and our industry in some markets dropped 80-90%, which is of course a problem. But since we were developing the product, it also at the same time gave us a bit of extra time and focus. There wasn't any distractions, and it was actually very low expectations from people around us. Of course, we were funding it ourselves and so on, but when our investors came in January, it was still kind of on an okay level, and it gave us time to kind of focus and develop. And by the time we did launch, and we were in July, and then ramped up early this year, it was like, I think it was a better product than it would have been if we were forced to come out really, really quickly, because people were just home, no one was traveling, so.
Cool. Yeah, thank you. Very great. And also the audience likes your app and your innovation, so perhaps 1 or 2 more questions. Yeah, they really like the idea that you don't need too many apps at the same time for one goal, but how did you get all the operators to collaborate?
No, different. I can't go into detail, but it's either we plug into them directly by partnerships or indirectly through other types of B2B aggregators, so it's a mix.
Okay, cool. And yeah, 1 more question, and please, to the audience, get in touch with Robin during the networking session and ask your questions. The whole process of getting an e-scooter, is it done in the app?
No, currently we find them, you can compare the prices, and you see where they all are in 500 cities. But then once you found the one you want, we redirect you, so you unlock it on that operator's app. But it is in the pipeline, and we're working with a couple of operators now to develop both payments and unlock and ride. Mm-hmm. It's coming. Okay.
Thank you, Robin. So also see you later. And then we head over to our next startup pitch. We changed the order a little bit, as you already saw, but we will still have 5 pitches, I hope so. So let's welcome our next startup, and this is called Hembu. They focus on a vision to improve our indoor climate by developing a sustainable alternative to substitute prefabricated concrete elements in buildings. Oh, very hard. So welcome Michael, who represents Hembu's team, and listen now to him how they fight against CO2 emissions.
Hi, I'm Michael from Hembu, and we're a very young startup from DTU Skylab. Copenhagen is an amazing city, and a lot of people want to live here. Unfortunately, most of the apartments being built for these people are being made out of concrete, the 4th most polluting resource in the world, which currently accounts for 8% of total global CO2 emissions. It's one of the reasons why the building sector is so polluting, which is something that we want to change. And we're not alone. New Danish legislation passed earlier this year that imposes limits on CO2 construction of new build that by 2029 are predicted to affect 90% of current construction and force them to lower their CO2 output. we have a solution to help with that. The Hembu facade element. It is a prefabricated structural facade element made out of natural materials, hemp and bamboo, that can replace concrete on a large scale. And in doing so, we can have a carbon footprint of 80% less than the most commonly used alternative. More than that, we have a lot of other values to our product. For one, it has a high load-bearing capacity and can support structures up to 5 stories. It also has increased vapor permeability, giving it scope to improve indoor climate. It also taps into the circularity trends going on in the sector, being made by only natural materials that are easily replenishable and also easily recyclable. And finally, it has similar installation and manufacturing processes to current solutions, allowing for easy transition into the industry. All of this, based on our calculations, we can deliver at a similar price point to current solutions. Our business model is as a material supplier, targeting contractors who want to make a green transition. But we also recognize that we have to partner up with architects, as they have an important influence on choosing materials. To begin with, our beachhead market will be single-family houses, as there are lower regulations here, but in the long run, we definitely want to target multi-story buildings where we can have a greater climate impact. So far, we have received a lot of positive interest from the industry, despite just being in the idea stage. And recently, we just received 500,000 in soft funding, 500,000 kroner that is, to fund our first pilot project and grow our company over the next year. We also have a second pilot project in the pipeline in collaboration with a postdoc from a prestigious Copenhagen School of Architecture. Who's behind all this? The Hembu team. We are 3 young, passionate individuals who have a broad range of skills, ranging from business and design to various areas in engineering. Together, we're the perfect team to develop this product fully and bring it to market. Thank you for attention. Now, my co-founder Elsa and I will answer your questions.
Wow, hello Elsa, and what a female-powered team. That's great. Nice to see you. Yeah, we have a few questions here for you to answer. The first one would be, what are the challenges of a new and innovative company like yours to entering such a traditional sector like constructions?
Yes, so the main challenge is that the building sector is a very conservative sector, so it's difficult to get the trust from the stakeholders to actually invest into new solutions. So that's what we are working on right now. We're trying to find the best way to actually bring the product out there and show it to people that it actually works.
Okay, thank you for this answer. And the next question is, should we be careful of pandas if we build our houses out of Hembu?
There is no
Is
risk
there an answer?
on that.
Okay, great. Perhaps.
Pandas are very picky in the bamboo they eat, and they don't eat the same sort that we'll use. So don't worry about the pandas.
Thanks. And perhaps one more question from my side. How was it at DTU to develop this startup? I think you already won a lot of prizes, and you took part in different programs. So how did it help you on your journey?
Yes, it was actually a great help. This startup developed during a thesis project, so that's where it all started. And then when we finished, we just decided to continue. And I have to say that Skylab was and DTU, they played a very important role in it because they really, from day one, they helped us with getting bigger and bigger. First with the Skylab Ignite program, which is a pre-startup program, and then with the incubator, where we're sitting right now. So big help for sure.
Cool. Thank you so much, and thank you for joining us at BLOXHUB. I think it was also great for you that you were welcomed there, also as part of the DTU Skylab ecosystem. And then I would like to go next to our next startup, and I'm very glad that he could make it. Our next presenter will be Davide from the startup Climify, and he dials in from vacation, so he won't be part of the networking session question later. But yeah, reach out to him. You find his contact details on the left side of your screen. And now we will find out more about how Climify supports healthy, comfortable, and productive indoor spaces. Hi, Davide.
Hi, Anna, and thanks for having us here talking about Climify. So, yeah, should I start directly?
Yes, you are on stage. You can start now.
Now I see, perfect. So, hello, everybody. I'm Davide Kelly. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Climify. So what we do at Climify, we create an online solution for an easy control and monitoring of the indoor environment. We all know when we think of buildings, new buildings, retrofitted buildings, old buildings, they tend to use more energy than we would expect them to use. And often, even with fully automated building system, occupants are often unsatisfied about the indoor climate. So I'll try to switch slide here. Did it work? No, I'm waiting that the connection works. Yes, too far here. Great. So what we have is a solution with three. Sorry, I have some trouble seeing the slide. Yeah, we have three products. One product is our online platform for the visualization of data collected from IoT devices. The other software that we have is called Dingst, which is a bit German inspired from the name. It's our device installation app. And it works with any IoT device that we connect to our platform. And the third component is our FeedMe app, which is a feedback app for the occupants to rate the indoor climate. I will talk about all of them in the next slides. So let's see. Yes, it works. So those are some screenshots of the app. This app is for the installation of any IoT device. So if I think of the city of Copenhagen, the city of Munich, or other big municipalities, we have several municipalities as our customers. And with this app, they can install any IoT device. We are vendor neutral and decide where to place the device, give locations a name, and basically they can keep track of all the indoor monitoring devices. In the next, yes, this is part of just one of different views of our visualization software. So here we see the floor plan of a school, the first floor of a school, and we can see that we can navigate through time and have evaluation of the indoor environment in the school. So we see green means everything is fine. So the indoor climate or indoor environment, depending on the sensors that you have, is fine. And then we can check how the CO2 is, for instance, navigate through time. And fortunately, I don't see my slides, or I see them extremely small. But yes, we can navigate and see how the CO2 concentration was within the time of day or day of the year. We have also several applications to evaluate those data that we collect from the IoT devices. We can check, for instance, if the CO2 concentration has been above 1000 ppm for over, let's say, 100 hours during the winter season and such things. But what we also know is that no matter how many sensors we have in a room, there is one issue with this. Depending on where we install sensors, we might capture a particular temperature in that particular corner, but the air temperature is not what we perceive as human beings. So we came up with a solution where we track people inside the buildings, occupants, and we track them with a Bluetooth low energy beacon network. So we know where they are. They can rate the indoor environment, giving a feedback about the temperature, about the air quality, and so on and so forth. And we can use this feedback to control the building accordingly. So this is particularly good if we think of big buildings with a lot of guests, like schools, where we might want a smart thermostats to avoid that every single pupil might play with the different thermostats and ruin return temperature and comfort. So we let them rate the system and we control the system. In this way, we match the advantages of automatic systems with the advantages of giving the users, the occupants, some freedom when using the building. My final few slides, if we can switch to the next one. Okay, let's see. Yeah, it worked. So our vision is to achieve sustainable, healthy, comfortable, and productive indoor environment. And our mission is to develop the world-class human-in-the-loop software solution for optimal building performance. So that's about Climify. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you very much, Davide. Yeah, this was a quick run through to this huge idea, I guess. And my question would be, how is the commitment with the feedback app? How is it working? Are the people happy to give feedback every time, or how often do they need to give feedback?
It's a very good question. Our idea is that actually they only give feedback when they want to complain. We tested it in a school, yet while we had not an automatic control, yet we agreed with the teachers that they would give actively some feedback twice a day in that particular case. But we have still to see how people react to the feedback idea. However, we think it's just a chance to complain. So it's similar to those buttons that you see by IKEA, for example, where you can choose the smiley. It's very similar. It's just personalized. So we can learn from the complaint what they don't like and try to minimize the unsatisfied people.
Cool. Okay. And this leads me to the next and last question. Does this also work for large spaces like airports, for example?
Yeah, we didn't test it yet, but the idea, we are talking with the Danish organization of commercial stores, so big stores and commercial centers, so for big spaces, and we are trying to test that very soon in one of those big commercial centers. So we will try such a building soon.
Good. Okay, great. So Davide, it was so nice to see you, to have you here. And yeah, please stay with us for the award ceremony. We would really love to award the prize to you, but also to all the other startups. And now let's go back to the second pitch, or actually the second pitch. Now we have here Urban Tree, and I'm really happy that we could make it now. So it is a spin-off of the research and consultancy organization Seaware, and Urban Tree is focusing on our outdoor urban space. They combine the desire for more nature in our cities, but on the other hand, also the passion for lowering the material footprint. Welcome, Louise, co-founder and responsible for the project management and sales for Urban Tree.
Thank you, Anna. Yeah, we experienced a bit of technical difficulties, but I'm back in, so that's good news. Hi, my name is Louise. I'm one of the 3 co-founders of Urban Tree, and our vision is to create greener and healthier cities made for people. A strong desire for more nature in our cities is on the rise, with many cities adopting tree planting strategies and citizen engaging projects. But keeping plants alive requires a lot of upkeep, and in many places it's difficult or even impossible to plant these natural trees. And this is in part due to underground infrastructure, such as sewage systems or underground parking lots and metro lines. And this is why we want to provide the cities with more solutions to their greening problem, not by replacing trees, but by expanding the greening market. And here's how. The urban tree is an instant greening feature in the city made from climate neutral concrete. This means that one urban tree consists of 2 tons of industrial waste, such as glass fiber from old windmill wings or mineral wool waste, just to name a few. The concrete gives the urban tree its form, while also making it strong enough to hold up to 2,500 liters of rainwater, which is captured from its tree top on the top. The water inside the tree is provided to the plants on the outside, and the top is covered with a solar panel to power add-ons such as lights, IoTs, and sensors, making the urban tree a multifunctional design piece that optimizes the space in built-up areas. The installation and maintenance costs are about 2 to 4 times lower than that for street trees and green walls. It's also easier to install and can be placed almost anywhere without a supporting structure or digging into the ground. Sorry. The European Federation of Green Roofs and Walls estimate a 500 to 1,000% increase in the greening market in the next 15 years, with a market price of 63 billion euros, where our target is to reach a market share of 1 to 2% by 2030. You can either buy the urban tree, where we promise to handle the end of life, or you can lease the tree for a minimum of 3 years, which will include a yearly maintenance and upkeep. The urban tree team consists of Rune, Birgitte, and myself, and we're all 3 co-founders. I have a background as a biologist, where I'm specialized in urban nature and climate change. Rune has extensive experience in partnerships and innovation, and Birgitte is an economist and has a majority of her career worked with circular economy. Our collaborators are Ecotree, Resourceful, BG Bygås, and the Technical University of Denmark. And we're also a part of the, or have been a part of the Urban Tech Mentoring Program earlier this year, and benefit from being part of the BLOXHUB community since we have offices there. And then we can get access to all the relevant networks and events, and we're very close to many of the actors in the same industry as ourselves. We hope that our participation today have inspired some of you to join our green movement. We want to find partners that want to develop the idea with us by either contributing with creative side or with marketing skills, or even with funding to reach markets beyond Denmark. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Louise, and thank you for your patience with us. Yeah, very nice picture, your last slide. There were 2 urban trees. Where was this picture taken? And I guess you planted already much more.
So these are just renderings, but this is in Rådhuspladsen, so one of the very central places in Copenhagen, where we could envision some more urban trees to provide some greenery.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I also would love to see more of this also in Munich, and also our audience would love to see urban trees around the neighborhoods. One question from the audience. They like the idea, as I already said, but how hard is it to install the urban trees, and which special equipment do you need for it?
So actually, the form is 3 concrete pieces that you mount on top of each other. So what you would need is, of course, a small truck with a, what's it called, like a hanger, that you can then place it on the surface. But you don't really need that much equipment, actually.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Looking at the time, we are a little late, so I would love to invite you at home again to be part of our networking session, to get in touch with Louise, but also with all the other startups. Thanks again for all these great pitches. And yeah, now let's invite you all to vote for your favorite pitch. Have a look on the right side of your screen, and then think again, what was your favorite one? And I would love to summarize the pitch session for you, perhaps to better decide at home. So, was your favorite pitch living better with creating innovative solutions for healthy buildings, or sticking to the right order, COGO, which takes up the urban mobility to the next level? Would you give a thumb up for Hembu, focusing on sustainable and natural alternatives for prefabricated construction? Or Climify, with a modular and digital solution for a good indoor environment? And last but not least, do vote for Urban Tree, with the focus on circular economy and sustainable reuse. Yeah, now Marisa is back on stage, and yeah, would you have been able to decide, is it possible to find your favorite startup pitch today? I think
it's
everyone
definitely
was great.
difficult, yeah, but I have to say I'm very impressed by the quality of the startup pitches, by the pitch decks, and everybody was so professional. Robin, very professional in his pitch, but then Davide is so happy, telling us about his vision and his business. So I really like that a lot, but it's hard to decide. I mean, Climify maybe for the Munich Urban Colab, or but many good ones, definitely.
That's right. But
Yeah.
perhaps we can have a look again. What is the winner's prize?
Absolutely. I mean, the winner, did you already reveal what's the first prize?
Yes, I already talked about it before we
Perfect.
started,
Great.
but perhaps we can show it again. It would be the voucher for this 4 weeks flexible desk at our Munich Urban Colab. So very nice to win this prize, to visit us here in Munich. And yeah, I think we have a result. Let's give you a few more seconds, and then we would love to see who is the winner of today's startup pitch session.
Yeah, who's going to join us in Munich soon? Be our
And
co-workers.
the winner is...
Can you read it from here?
We have to wait a few more seconds. Who is the winning startup? Let's see. Very excited.
Okay, wait, I can see some what's the lowest number there?
Can I read it? Oh, I think we have 2 winners.
Oh, we have...
That's great. Okay, we have to announce 2 winners. And the winning teams are Urban Tree and second, Hembu. Congratulations.
Yeah, you have the same amount of votes. What does that mean? Both 2 weeks, right?
I think we have to request another voucher from our Munich Urban Colab team. And let's see. Congratulations again, and thank you for this great pitch session.
Yeah. Can we get them back on stage for a second?
So. Perhaps. Here are the winners.
Yes.
Great.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Very happy about that.
So what's your plan for Munich? When will we see you here?
We haven't talked about that.
No, I mean...
But I think it's definitely something that we should plan now.
Yeah, I mean, do you make good bamboo in Munich? Because then we'll come and look at some bamboo there.
Yes.
No, but we'll have to talk about this. Maybe we'll have a business trip over the summer.
Yeah, Hembu trip.
Sounds good. Yes. We'll definitely have a beer in the beer garden in Munich, right?
Great. What about you, Christian? You already visited Germany for a lot of times, I guess, but what about Munich?
Yeah, I definitely want to go back. Can you hear me? And we already have several contacts in the German market that we're going to elaborate on, and I would be so happy also to come to Munich. I think there's a huge potential in all the big German cities like Hamburg, Berlin, Munich, Stuttgart, and so forth. So first of all, we need to start get a bridgehead somewhere, and for us, we'll probably look at Hamburg because it's closer to the Danish border. But if there's interest in Munich, I'll go where the customer is. So it's that easy, actually.
Okay, let's hope the customers were listening tonight, and that we can see you in Munich soon.
Cool. I would like to take the opportunity again to thank Invest in Bavaria, which made available small gift boxes from Bavaria, so none of the startups would leave this event with empty hands. Thank you so much. And yeah, I think, Marisa, we almost made it today.
We did. Thank you again to our partners, especially to BLOXHUB, of course, for co-creating this event with us. We hope to see more Danish-German collaborations between the Munich Urban Colab and between BLOXHUB, and for UnternehmerTUM, of course. We stay in touch. And yeah, great inspiration from Copenhagen today. And yeah, I think you have some information on the next International Entrepreneurs Night.
Yeah, if you're wondering what's coming up next, we have another date for you in November. There will be the special edition about the African-European ecosystem, and it's about crossing bridges and collaborating for purpose beyond borders in the digital realm. So yeah, we're coming to the end, and now we would like to invite you to join our networking session. Click on the left side in the menu bar on networking and then see where the startups are. You can join them, you can have one-on-ones, exchange about the German market, but also ask your questions about their products and services.
Great. Hope to see you soon at the Munich Urban Colab.
Bye.
Bye.